Okay, well, last night we put out a video, and the first one in a couple of years. I'd like to let everybody know that we're coming back. We did a few videos back during the pandemic. I did most of them inside the residence and teach about barricade shooting and different things like that, and firearm safety and some of the laws here in Idaho. I'll be doing some more videos when it comes to tactics and procedures. I've got classes coming up next week for individual tactics. We also have a free workshop in Pocatello for self-defense and home defense planning. And that'll be at the Memorial Building, the Veterans Memorial Building over on Johnson. And again, that's free. It starts at 6 o'clock on the 11th. Let's get back to this investigation in Moscow. First thing, I'd like to compliment all the agencies, local, state, and federal agencies that are involved in this. They have conducted an outstanding investigation. They've moved very rapidly. They've picked up all the evidence they need to get an affidavit of probable cause to get an arrest warrant for this individual. Once they get the arrest warrant, then they went and made the arrest in Pennsylvania. I'll explain some of the things that happened there and how it went down. But here in this side, these guys have done an outstanding job of keeping the evidence close to heart. They didn't give it up to the media. The reason why is because we don't want to give any information that's not completely vetted. We want to make sure that every bit of information we have, all the evidence we have, is rock solid. Again, like I said last night, we have, if we fail on a case, it's from the first responding officer all the way to the prosecutor. We all take a bite of that blame. There's no finger pointing. We're all responsible for something. We dropped the ball somewhere down the line. And we don't want to do that in this one. This is a quadruple homicide. It was a brutal homicide. If this individual is guilty, we want everything lined up the way it needs to be lined up. We want everything in order. We want no mistakes, because this individual does have his constitutional rights. He is innocent until proven guilty, so he will have his day in court. He'll have his day to argue the evidence. He'll have his day in court to say his piece. And that's the way we want it. Again, we have the greatest system in the world. It has its flaws, but it's still the greatest in the world. So with that being said, the investigation here, when he left and they were able to locate the vehicle, they were able to find out what vehicle he was in, or the suspect's vehicle, any type of evidence we collected up there, from DNA evidence to cell phone records, whatever it is, they had to have warrants for each thing they did. So everything they did after conducting the first lockdown of the crime scene, the initial part of the crime scene, they don't need a warrant for that when they went in, because there was a major crime scene there. But from that point on, they secured the residence. Then they started collecting enough evidence to get warrants to move further into the investigation and collect more evidence. They're doing everything by the book. They are doing a phenomenal job up there, and they're holding it tight. And they just gave a press release yesterday. They talked about the affidavit of probable cause. People are wondering, why would I have been given more information? Some people even made comments on the page that they don't understand why people have to know this information. Our morbid curiosity, a lot of times, our curiosity for justice for another reason. So yeah, we all want to know, but the best thing to do is wait. We are not part of the investigation. We're not part of the court system. We're not the ones going to be making those determinations when this individual comes to court. So we don't need to know everything yet. We will know everything. Everything will be released at a specific time. So now that he's been arrested, he, I believe, has waived his extradition, so he'll be brought back pretty soon. They talked today a little bit about how he possibly will be transported back. He won't fly commercial, I guarantee that, because of the high profile of this case. He'll probably be flown through the U.S. Marshals, which, as we all know, is Con Air. They have private planes. They have large passenger planes that they can move a lot of inmates. They move, I believe, well over 200,000 inmates a year nationwide through federal courts. And so they'll probably fly him back. But when he lands here in Idaho, nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to know when he's going to be arriving at the jail. That's a good thing. You guys have seen him when he leaves the van going into the court, or back in the jail. He's wearing his orange jumpsuit and is bulky. Well, yes, they have a bulletproof vest on him. And the reason why is because you have vigilantes out there that they believe they're being justice. They're serving justice. We don't want that kind of justice served. We want this individual to go to court. And the reason why we want him to go to court is we want to find out why. If he did this, we're hoping he's going to say why. What caused him to do this? So that way in future times we can prevent these crimes by possibly seeing the signs of an individual that's leaning his way, or if it does happen or when it happens, we know how to conduct that investigation and which direction to look, because this individual gave us insight on why he did this, if he did this. So that's why we want him to go to court, because we all learn from it. We learn from the civilians watching our neighbors, watching our family. Are we going to be ratting each other out? No, but if we see something that doesn't look right, it doesn't look right. Don't write it off as, well, it doesn't look right. In today's day and age, we don't need to worry about that. Well, that's our situational awareness issues. We can't see this guy walking down the street wearing, 6'5" guy wearing a tutu, swinging an axe. That's just, he's expressing himself. If it doesn't look right to you, avoid it. You're not judging the individual, but something like that doesn't look right. Yes, that's the extreme. But if something doesn't look right or feel right to you, that's situational awareness. That's being aware of your surroundings prior to this thing happening. And if we can find out more information from this individual in the future, then possibly could see the individual and the mistakes or the signs he gives or she gives prior to committing a crime this atrocious. So when he gets back, when he's brought back to the state of Idaho, he's in custody here, he's in the jail here, they will release the affidavit of probable cause. They've already said that on an interview earlier. So you will have the information that they had to get the warrant, to put him into custody. One of the other questions asked was the SWAT raid. Why did they raid the house the way they did? Why was there broken windows? Why was the door blown open? Well, when a SWAT team is given, see, this individual, I guarantee once Idaho and these other agencies gathered information on this suspect and they had the white Hyundai they were looking for, they started tracking and trying to find him. Once they found that vehicle and found who it was and what direction he was traveling, he was under surveillance. I will guarantee you in his hometown where he was at, he was under surveillance for a while. They watched him, they watched every move he made, and once the warrant was issued, they said, let's go pick him up. They didn't want to take a chance of arresting him in public. This guy is wanted and suspect of a quadruple homicide. You don't just walk up and say, sir, place your hands behind your back, you're under arrest. We don't know how it's going to turn out. So you have to play it safe for him and for the officers. So in this scenario, the SWAT team was given the information, they were given the warrant, they were given the residence. We tried to find blueprints of that residence. Once they found out the layout, because there are a lot of homes are built on tract homes, a lot of homes are built the same, most of them are, and we can get a layout of the home. They conducted a practice raid. They looked at it and said, okay, here's the entranceway, the best way to get in the house, the best way to get deep in the house very fast, and that's what they went off of. And then they looked at where the individual's room may have been. Well, people are asking, well, the window was broke over here, they made entry over here, and everybody's being cooperative. Well, we can't go off that assumption, because we all know what assumptions are. So, where the window could possibly have been broken on the other side of the residence, it was in the front of the house, I believe, on the right side of the door. That could have been the room he was in, and they broke the door to make a communication portal, or that was the distraction, or it could have been a chemical point to enter chemicals into the residence if this guy barricaded himself into a room. There's a lot of things the reason why that window was broke. And then the doorway was broken, where it was opened, and the team made entry. They took him into custody without incident. That's what we want every single time. You want to overwhelm, you want to surprise, and take him into custody or her into custody without incident. That's a SWAT team goal. If a SWAT team has a goal of going in there and getting into a firefight every time they go into a residence, they need to be disbanded and stop being SWAT. Your goal is to ensure the safety of yourself and the suspects and all innocents in the area. Through the priority of life on law enforcement is always the innocents, the victim, the innocents, then law enforcement. They are the number one. So when we go into a SWAT raid, we go into that raid taking everybody's life into consideration. And our main goal when we made entry into residences is to ensure everyone's safety, even the suspects. That's why we overwhelm the residents so hard, so fast. We don't want shootouts. That's the first things from our mind. But we have to prepare for them. This is a quadruple homicide suspect. We had to be prepared for it. So when they went in, they made entry. They conducted the arrest, and they took him back to jail. Now, some other people have been saying that they have him under suicide watch. I watched a couple of interviews with that. That's that green smock you see him wearing in the jail picture. That's a suicide smock. Is he suicidal? They didn't say that. He's just under suicide watch. When you have somebody who's up for a quadruple homicide, you're not sure what his mental status is. So what they would like to do is put him in an environment that he has no tools at all to harm himself. No, he has nothing there to hurt himself. And that's what that smock does. You can't tie it in knots. You can't do anything with it. The jail staff, they all have those in their jails. And so, is he suicidal? I haven't seen anything that said he is. All they said is he's under suicide watch. But that's common practice for somebody who's being charged with this horrendous crime, until they find out what his state of mind really is. So that's all I'm gonna cover tonight. If you have any more questions, please ask. Hit like and subscribe. The business I own is lonepinetactical.com. I'm out of Idaho Falls. I do travel throughout southeast Idaho. If anybody wants any firearms training, I give free workshops. I have one on the 11th at the Veterans Memorial Building in Pocatello at 6 p.m. We're going to cover personal defense and home defense planning. So it's free to the public. If you want to come, I have a couple hundred seats in there. I have firearms training. If you want to contact me at young2225@gmail.com. And I do private lessons, and I charge nothing more for like enhanced concealed carry classes. I do have indoor tactical classes I'm putting on using CERT and LASR programming. And just contact me if you want any classes, or if you want any workshops. I'll come to your office. I've trained the entire office staff on surviving violent encounters. So if anybody wants any of these type of classes, feel free to ask. But stay safe. Sorry, like I said, I don't edit. The reason why I don't is I like to keep it real. This is me. This is what you get. You come to my classes, you're going to get what you get. And as I say, it is what it is. But if you're going to be making plans to defend yourself or your home, you have to practice those plans. We'll be covering a lot of that come next Wednesday. So stay safe, stay vigilant, stay alert. Have a great night.